might be present in any raw beef or fish. As we met people who had lost children to foodborne illness, safety became a passion for us. Some say the burden of safety should fall upon the consumer. We believe it's up to us who make the beef to make it as safe as we know how. We are a family-owned business. We try to do the right thing for our company, for our customers, for our employees, and for our community. Our commitment has always been to produce a safe, wholesome product. So it has been so disheartening for our family and our employees to see these negative and misleading stories lead to consumer concerns. We're not much about PR at BPI. What we do is make a quality, safe, and nutritious lean beef. On behalf of my immediate family and the extended family of BPI employees, I want to thank Governor Branstad, Governor Perry, Governor Brownback, Lieutenant Governor Sheehy, and Lieutenant Governor Michaels for taking the time to come to visit our facility today. It means a lot to us that you did that. It means a lot to us that you're here to help us in this fight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rogine. Thank you, Eldon. I want to welcome all of you to Nebraska for this very important event. I also want to give my thanks to Governor Branstad, Governor Perry, Governor Brownback, and Lieutenant Governor Michaels for being here and for their leadership on this issue. The fact that we have such broad representation here, from governors to community leaders, exemplifies the impact of this issue. We are here today to emphasize that finely trimmed beef is safe. The misinformation about this beef is doing damage on many levels, and we want to set the record straight. The negative results do not stop with one company, as evidenced by the attendance here. The impact does not stop at our Nebraska borders. The ramifications of reducing this beef will be felt throughout the entire beef industry and potentially to consumers worldwide. Lean, finely trimmed beef is 100% beef. It is lean beef that goes through a USDA-approved science-based process that improves food safety. Farmers, ranchers, and beef processors in Nebraska take their jobs very seriously. And today I can tell you that I know BPI is an important part of that process. The other states represented here share these same characteristics, and that is why we are collaborating today to share our message. Lean, finely trimmed beef is safe. And as we were driving over here thinking about what do we try to promote it, dude, it's beef. With that, I would like to invite Iowa Governor Terry Branstad to the podium, who really has spearheaded today's efforts. Governor.
Lieutenant Governor Sheehy, thank you very much for hosting us. Thanks for joining us today. I want to thank all of you for joining us. I want to especially acknowledge the Iowa Cattlemen's Association, Iowa Beef Industry Council, and Dr. Jim Dixon from Iowa State University, and my fellow governors. I want to thank you for changing your schedules on such short notice and flying up here to be with us today. And this, I think, shows how seriously we all take this and how we need to stand together to clear up the misinformation that has been circulated in the media about lean, finely textured beef that's produced by BPI. As you know, earlier this week, BPI made a very difficult decision to suspend operation at 3 of its 4 plants, and we just had the opportunity to tour the one plant that is still in operation. So the plants that have been closed are in Waterloo, Iowa, and in Kansas and Texas. And during this time, we know that there are many people that have been working very hard to create jobs in our states in a very difficult economy. And then to see these facilities shut down makes it even harder, since we are all concerned about the safety of the product, and we know that these accusations are totally unfounded. For over 20 years, BPI has been using lean, finely textured beef to lower the fat content of ground beef. And for over 20 years, I'm proud to say, I and my family have been eating it. We cannot stand by and watch this company close its doors because people do not know the facts about BPI and the lean beef that it makes. That's why I've been so animate about telling this story. I've always held the media in high regard, and my efforts at transparency, I think, have reflected that through all my years of public service. However, I believe that the national media have permeated this discussion with a poisonous tone that is detrimental to the beef industry and the jobs that support it. I do not believe workers in plants in Iowa, Kansas, and Texas should wonder why they will not have a job because of misleading headlines. It's time to end the smear campaign and to stop the use of inaccurate, inappropriate, and charged words designed to scare people. It's time for the truth to prevail and to combat the ugly situation where consumers are being misled. The willingness of so many state leaders to change their schedules on short notice and come here shows us how seriously we take this. And we believe, and I think we've just seen it confirmed from our trip through the plant, that this is a safe and reliable product, and this company has gone out of its way to protect the safety of the consumers, and no one has become sick by this product. It is because BPI's 100% beef product consistently achieves high levels of safety that the USDA allowed it into the National School Lunch Program in the first place. And yes, Secretary of Agriculture Tom Vilsack was with me yesterday to confirm USDA's continued support for this product. It's 95% lean. And you know, we're trying to combat obesity in this country. We just had the First Lady, Michelle Obama, in Des Moines. 10,000 kids came, and the focus was on exercise and nutrition and eating right and eating leaner products. And this is a product that meets that need. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to my friend, Governor Sam Brownback from Kansas.
Thanks, Terry. Thanks, Terry, and thanks for hosting us here as well and for putting this together. And Terry's been really the driving force behind this. The two first speakers have already hit most of the key points, but there's a couple of things that I think really need to be said here. Years ago, I was an ag commissioner in the state of Kansas, Secretary of Agriculture for Kansas, and food safety is the dominant issue in the industry. It's keeping a safe product so that people don't get sick from it. And that focus has paid off because over the years, the safety record with the food industry in the United States and in my state of Kansas has gone up. It's improved. This is a safe food product. People are concerned about the ammonia that's puffed onto it. That is strictly done to reduce the E. coli potential issue with it. And it has worked. There has not been anybody get sick from this product. Over 20 years of use of it. This is lean beef. You know, as Governor Branstad was saying, we're trying to get people to eat better. And now what is going to happen because of this unmerited, unwarranted food scare, and that's what this is unmerited, it is unwarranted, and it's a food scare. You're going to drive up the price of lean ground beef. And the price differential between it and a higher fat content ground beef is going to be larger. And more people are going to probably say, well, I'll buy the cheaper one here, when that's not what you want people to do. And this is going absolutely contrary to what we ought to be urging people to do. And that's why I'm delighted to be here and to be a part of it. I think a big part of the campaign problem has been the other side pushing's gotten a catchy name. I hope the Dude, It's Beef catches on, because that's what this is. Dude, it's beef. And it's good beef. My family raises cattle. We've lost 300 jobs in Kansas off of this. Off of a good, wholesome, safe product that's been consumed for 20 years without a problem. And that's why we're here pushing back. And I really hope the people in America take a second look and thought about what this really is, and work with it. If there was a safety issue, I am absolutely for going after any safety issue on food, whatever it is. We should go after it, and we are, and we have been as an industry. That's not what this is. This isn't merited. And my hope is that people can take another look at it and see that this is a quality beef product. I'd like to now call up to the podium the person I believe has traveled the furthest, along with his Ag Commissioner from Texas. My Ag Secretary from Kansas is here, and I believe the one from Nebraska is here as well, but Governor Rick Perry from Texas.
Sam, thank you very much, and let me introduce the Agriculture Commissioner from Texas, Todd Staples. He and I both have enjoyed the honor of serving in that role in our lives, and again, I want to say thanks to BPI for a very, very interesting and a very clear-cut picture of what you do at your facility. Very informative tour, and along with Governor Branstad, I am very proud to offer my support to this situation, to add my voice to those calling for cooler and calmer heads to address this situation. And in my home state, beef is a $7.5 billion a year industry. It helps a lot of hard-working Texans, whether it's out on the farm or it's one of those allied industries all the way up through the chain. It helps them make a living, be able to take care of their family. And when we have these false rumors that get started, they have the potential to take down an entire company. That really hits close to home. In fact, we already have, as Sam shared with you, as in Kansas, a couple of hundred, upward to 300 people who are sitting idle today because the plant has been shut down because of these rumors. Each of them suddenly are unsure of where they're going to be able to take care of their family in the months to come, by no fault of their own, or for that matter, their company's fault. You know, whether you work in the industry or not, this hysteria that we're seeing is going to affect everyone to some degree, reacting to nothing more than media reports and social media rumors. There are retailers who are effectively discarding some 10 to 12 pounds of usable protein per head of cattle. Now, at the same time, we're going through a historic drought in the state of Texas, and we're seeing our beef cattle numbers, Dr. Acuff, at some record low levels, significantly reducing our herd size. The economics is pretty easy to calculate, and the impact that it's going to have. What I've just described is a formula for a fairly significant price hike in beef. And again, for no valid reason. As governors, we owe it to the people of our states and their employers to ensure that no industry succumbs to this sort of attacks. And as members of the media, you owe it to the consumers to report the facts. Let's call this product what it is, and let pink slime become a term of the past. The questions we all have to ask ourselves is, what industry is not vulnerable to this type of fast-spreading misinformation campaign? If the beef cattle industry succumbs to this, who's next? Let the facts speak for themselves. So to BPI, thank you for having us today. I appreciate this opportunity to be on the stage with these two other governors and these other elected officials who share our concern for this issue and to set the record straight. And so now it's my honor to introduce Lieutenant Governor Michaels for a few words as well.
Thank you, Governor Perry, and thank you, Governor Branstad, on behalf of Governor Dugard and myself for the invitation to be here. The Governor and our Agricultural Secretary, Walt Bones, are over in China at this point right now, working, trying to expand our markets, trying to be part of the international trade industry that the Ross have started. A little less than a year ago, I met them, and I did not know them up until we had the flood fight. And this is a story today that continues from that flood fight. A number of you in the media that are here today have covered that. A number of you lived it. Immediately when the governor assigned me to be down in the southeast, I met Regina, and we talked. And her primary concern was how she described her family. And that was people that worked with BPI as their family. And then I met Eldon. Eldon took care of a lot of people very silently, both of them and their entire family. And I met Rich and everyone in a time of trial. We arrived a little earlier to the plant today with our team, and I talked to a couple of people before everyone else arrived. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a story about families. Families in South Dakota, Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, and Texas that are producers, that are in the auction houses, that are in the slaughterhouses, that are in these incredible plants that make sure that I continue to have this much fat. Right? And we are people of the land in this area. And there is a disconnect out there between how it is that food gets to the grocery store. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it gets to the grocery store because of Chris and the team at BPI and these people that could lose their job because of misinformation, as Governor Perry said, due to no fault of their own. I think it's just incredible, the stories that I heard during the flood fight and just heard today about how concerned Eldon and Regina are about others, the people that work with them, not for them, the people that are there, and about us. Finally, it's about family and the consumers. And the increased cost that this misinformation could cost us, with the ingenuity and the dedication, we should be thanking them, not maligning them. And on behalf of Dennis Dugard and the people of South Dakota, we thank you for being such great corporate citizens, Regina and Eldon and all of BPI. And I would counter Lieutenant Governor Sheehy with this slogan: here's the beef, dude. Thank you. Thank you again. It's my privilege to introduce now Dr. Gary Acuff, who's the Director of Center for Food Safety at Texas A&M University. Doctor?
Thank you. In the 1980s, consumers wanted leaner beef products. The beef industry responded, and now the American consumer has choices in lean beef that could never have been foreseen 30 years ago. In the 90s, consumers rightly demanded a safer product. The beef industry responded with science and technology that has provided improved sanitation and hygiene, pathogen interventions, HACCP for enhanced process control, application of testing technologies, and extensive traceback efforts. In all raw foods, the potential exists for bacteria to be present that could cause foodborne illness. The greatest assurance of safety in consuming these foods is achieved through application of a terminal cook step before eating. However, the food industry is constantly in pursuit of methods or treatments that will reduce the risk to consumers. Even a small reduction in risk might result in saving lives, so no investment is too small. And the beef industry has invested heavily. Today, we all want sustainability and environmental awareness. The beef industry has responded by improving animal welfare and increasing efficiency, helping to ensure that we're good stewards of the life of an animal that will be used to provide food on our tables. Lean finely textured beef, or LFTB, is a lean, safe, sustainable product that's been born from consumer demands of the last 30 years. It helps to ensure consumers have the lean beef products they desire. It makes use of advanced intervention technologies to reduce the risk of foodborne disease. And it assures that we responsibly use as much of the lean meat from a beef carcass as possible. The product is beef, not pink slime. Such a derogatory name can do much harm to a consumer perception of a product, regardless of its high value. Combine the derogatory reference with misrepresentations within quote-unquote documentaries and by television chefs, and who can blame consumers for being concerned? Again, the product is lean beef. LFTB is not a filler. It's lean beef, and it's added to mixtures of lean and fat trimmings during grinding to produce the lean ground product that today's consumers want and need. We would like for the media to stop mischaracterizing this product as a cheap, low-quality product. Currently, lean beef is trimmed from every possible source on a carcass, within reason. At some point, the lean tissue becomes too difficult and time-consuming for even the most skilled beef cutters to remove. BPI's process allows the recovery of this high-quality lean tissue from trimmings that would not be possible otherwise. So finally, when we have so many legitimate issues to concern ourselves with regarding safety of food, it amazes me how much we choose to ignore the hazards of greatest significance and focus on issues that can be sensationalized to get attention, regardless of reality. This situation provides a perfect example. If the same time and effort wasted on this non-issue had been directed toward convincing consumers to use a cooking thermometer, we might actually save some lives. Instead, we have listeria, we have the likelihood of lost jobs, and unnecessarily higher food prices. But we got great review ratings. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Elizabeth Hagan, Undersecretary for Food Safety, United States Department of Agriculture.
Thanks, Dr. Acuff. Thank you to all the governors and lieutenant governors for having me here. I am here on behalf of USDA. I'm here to clarify where we stand on a couple of key issues and what our role is in this situation and in situations like this. We have two very important responsibilities here. One is to ensure the safety of this product and really of all beef products that are available to American consumers. And the second is to ensure that there is an adequate choice of nutritious, safe food through the National School Lunch Program. So let me talk first about food safety, because that is the mission that I am personally responsible for at USDA. It's a big one, and we take it very seriously, this mission of food safety. Our public health policies are based in science, and they're executed through inspection. We have over 7,000 inspectors in over 6,200 meat, poultry, and egg products establishments every single day. Those of you who took the tour today probably saw some of our inspection team there. They're there, they're inspecting the food. They are reviewing food safety plans, food safety systems, ensuring that they're working the way that the company says that they're working. They are watching what's going on. They may be sampling and testing product. They are ensuring that those products meet the highest, most rigorous food safety standards that we at USDA set for the American consumer. Once they have ensured that that is the case, then and only then do they apply the USDA mark of inspection. When we put that mark of inspection on a product, we stand behind it. It means something, and it has meant something for over 100 years. So lean, finely textured beef is a product that undergoes that degree of scrutiny every single day. The process itself and the processing aid used to make this product have long been considered safe by both the FDA and the USDA. But that is something separate. Starting with a process that we feel is safe is something separate from determining that the product coming out of those plants on a daily basis is safe for American consumers. And that's why we're there. That's why we're there every single day doing those things that I just talked to you about. So the mark of inspection means something, and a product needs to earn it. And so if a product does not earn the mark of inspection, it does not receive it, and it never reaches consumers. It's really that simple. So that's the food safety piece. The National School Lunch Program is something I'd also like to talk about. That's not my direct area of responsibility at USDA. My good friend Kevin Kincannon, who I think many of you know from his time here in Iowa, runs that program, is responsible for the administration of that program. And I'd like to just reiterate what he said when he was out here earlier this week about this product and why it remains a choice in the National School Lunch Program. As he said, the product has never been found to be unsafe. It allows the National School Lunch Program to offer a lower fat offering in terms of ground beef, and it actually provides a tremendous value for many American school districts. There are tens of thousands of kids all over the country who depend on this program. So that is the reason that USDA stands behind our decision to allow this product into the National School Lunch Program and to continue to allow this product into the National School Lunch Program. However, we are allowing school districts to make a choice. As in any customer relationship, customers want a choice. And our customers are the school districts of the United States. And they showed us and told us in an overwhelming fashion that they wanted to have a choice. Some of them wanted us to eliminate this product from the National School Lunch Program, and we would not do that because we are comfortable with the safety profile, with the quality, the nutrition content, and the value that this product offers to the National School Lunch Program. But we do think that we should offer them a choice. So those are the issues that are important to us. Those are the issues that we focus on: safety for all and nutrition and choice in the National School Lunch Program. Next, I'd like to introduce my good friend Nancy Donley from Stop Foodborne Illness.
Thank you. I welcome the opportunity to be here today to stand tall and in support of our dear friends from BPI, Eldon and Regina Roth, and the company that they've built. I know firsthand the horror that comes from a foodborne illness. My only child died from E. coli contamination, from contaminated ground beef. And it's just a devastating illness that happens, and one that to this day still has no cure. That's why keeping the pathogens out of the meat supply is so critically important. And what's so critically important is to have companies that put food safety first. And that is something that the commitment to food safety that BPI has is totally unchallengeable, in my opinion, after knowing them and their company for so many years. I like to think that in their decisions, that they make the decisions, that they keep my little boy Alex in the back of their minds thinking, hey, is what I want to do with my technology, is that going to prevent future tragedies than what happened to Nancy's son Alex? And I think they have. I think these folks have saved lives. They don't know it. They can never prove it. They can never show it that you or your child is alive because of something that they've done. I'm very concerned about campaigns such as this, because what this can do is stifle food safety innovation. I am really afraid of what campaigns like this can do to impact all of food safety as a whole. Why would a company want to go that extra step, take that extra walk, only to put a target on their back to say, hey, I'm doing something different, and therefore be made a target? So anyway, I want to thank again companies like BPI that make food safety their number one concern, because behind every statistic of what you read, and that's something that Stop Foodborne Illness, that's what we are the faces behind the statistics. And what we want to do is encourage companies to put food safety first, to make sure that tragedies like what happened to my son don't continue to happen. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We'll open it up to questions from the media. Start in this area. Any questions? This area. Any questions from the media? Yes.
Just recognize who you are for us.
Yeah, identify who you are.
My name is Jim Avila from ABC News. I wanted to ask the governor, first of all, if LFPB is just ground beef and not added, why is it not sold as a standalone product? Why must it be added to fresh ground beef? Isn't that the very definition
Well, which governor? Are you addressing that to me?
I think that it seems like a very appropriate question for BPI in this instance.
Well, I didn't see BPI up there.
I know it's okay. It's all right. I think it's important to note that in part of the process of separating this lean meat from fat, it is in fact takes on a different texture, and that is a fine texture, which is very descriptive in its name. So, average consumer, as it relates to the ground beef that they're consuming, it's a different texture. So, if you think of coarse salt, then you think of fine ground salt. Average consumer, when they purchase ground beef, from a textural standpoint, they think of coarse salt. This is a finer texture, and that's why it's blended.
So, is that not the definition of an additive?
No.
It's beef, but it's leaner beef, which is better for you. You don't get it.
So why not market it as that? And label it?
Well, because, as he said, you want something that's going to appeal to the consumers with the texture. And so what you've got is something that's 95% lean, and you're mixing that with things that have more fat, and then you maybe end up with a 90% lean. And the problem is we take this off the market, then we end up with a fatter product that's going to cost more and is going to increase the obesity problem in this country. Doesn't make any sense. And it's not caused any problems in terms of health. That's the most important thing here, is protecting the health of the citizens of this country and making sure that they have a product that's safe.
The professor maybe would be a good one to
Well, I think it's important to realize that you have all these different lean and fat levels. I mean, this gives us the opportunity to combine this and produce what the consumers want. I mean, you and I are old enough to remember you went to the store and you could find regular ground beef and maybe something that killed lean ground beef. I mean, now look what we have, 96% lean, 80% fat. I mean, they're all different, 80% lean. They're all different types of ground beef that are produced now because we have the options to mix this together. But offering that as a single option, it's not a product that grinds up and produces a hamburger patty. It's a product that allows us to adjust the lean and fat levels. But it is exactly lean beef.
Other questions? Yes, you. Identify yourself and your outlet, please.
Ben Nussmore, KELO-TV in Sioux Falls. What about the people who are concerned that this product is treated with ammonia?
I'd like to get Dr. Acuff to address that one as well, because he and I were discussing this earlier in the day, and some other products that have ammonium hydrate as well.
So you don't have to use ammonia to produce LFTB. I mean, ammonia is added to this product to make it a safer product. If you remember, we have some issues with beef in terms of foodborne pathogens. E. coli 0157H7, and now we have non-0157S-Tex that are of concern to the industry. A lot of these organisms are sometimes acid resistant. They have a little bit of acid resistance. So treating them with something that would raise the pH to a basic level, might create a better kill for something like that. So there are lots of different ways that you can treat this product to eliminate pathogens. One of the things we can do is raise the pH with some ammonia. We use ammonia in all kinds of foods in the food industry. We use ammonia as a leavening agent. We use ammonia products in coffee creamers to keep the creamer from precipitating when you put it in an acidic coffee. We use ammonia in chocolates. There are all kinds of foods that we use ammonia in. Tofu has ammonia in it, probably 4 times the amount that you'd find in ground beef. So ammonia is not an unusual product to find added to food, and it's part of the natural component of food. So, we produce 4 grams probably of ammonia in our intestinal tract every day.
2 more quickly.
Jessica Sahajek, KCAU. Each one of you up here have said LFTB is 100% safe. But does that blanket the meat that it's mixed with? Does it make the rest of the beef it's mixed with E. coli free as well?
I can speak for lean finely textured beef as it relates to our product. I can tell you that we do 100% finished product testing, and that's a single part of our overall food safety system. We can't speak for the rest of the ground beef in the blend. No, ma'am.
Final question?
But I think the USDA can, and I think the doctor would address this to your question, if I could, Doctor.
And Craig's already spoken to their process and how much testing that they do. I would say that it's important for you to know that lean finely textured beef is treated as any other component of ground beef would be treated when we look at it from a regulatory standpoint. So there's a zero tolerance for E. coli 0157H7 and soon to be for non-0157S-Tex. That means that companies handle it in a way that would prevent it from being contaminated from going into commerce. It means that we look at it differently as a product that needs to be pathogen-free when it reaches consumers. We sample it just as we would with any other component going into ground beef. I can tell you that this product from this company has been sampled by the USDA between the Agricultural Marketing Service that purchases for the National School Lunch Program and the FSIS, the Food Safety Inspection Service that I oversee, has been sampled over 7,000 times in the last 3 years and has never once had a positive test.
Final question.
I was wondering how these plant closures have affected other beef plant productions, maybe Governor Brownback. I know in where my company is based out of Dodge City, Kansas, there are 2 other beef plants. How is that affecting their production because they're sending their trimmings to BPI?
We don't know the full impact yet. We do know we've had a plant close in Kansas and 300 people are not employed. We do know there is a certain amount of this product that's being stored now because it would normally flow into commerce, and because of the hysteria is not, it will have a longer-term impact within the industry, all of which will be negative. But we just don't know the full impact of that. You do know as well that you're going to have to, if you're going to try to substitute and make up for this, roughly the same amount of ground beef is going to be consumed this year in the United States as last year, you got to make up for that somewhere. So you may end up importing a lot of meat products into the United States, or having probably higher fat content hamburger will probably move in, or you got to have another 1 million head of cattle, 1.5 million head of cattle come in, which we don't have. Something in there is going to have to give in the system.
Great.
Why don't you take a couple more questions? You got plenty out here.
Go ahead.
This is again for Governor Ransom and also for the political stop at the end. What role did the fact that BPI donated $150,000 to the campaign last year have in this, taking care of this?
None whatsoever. Let me tell you this. I will always fight for my constituents, and I will always fight for what's right. And I will never be intimidated by anybody in the press that tries to make those kind of accusations.
Other questions? Yes, back here. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
First of all, condolences, and I certainly understand why you've taken this up as a cause. I was wondering why, however, on your website, which you are required to list the donors to your organization. 2 weeks ago, before this began, BPI was listed as giving you more than half of last year's budget, more than $250,000. And now on your website,
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
And now on your website, that information has been erased and photoshopped over. And I was wondering why.
Well, it hasn't been erased or photoshopped over. What I will tell you is that we do have donors who ask to remain anonymous, and we honor that request. I will tell you this, and we have been very grateful to BPI for being supportive of us, and we will accept money from other corporations with no strings attached. BPI has never asked us for a single thing, ever.
We will never be compromised in our positions of protecting consumers from pathogens in our food supply. That is our mission, period. My goal is to put my organization out of business, that there are no foodborne illness victims anymore. That is my professed goal. And I will also tell you this. No price can be put on my son's head. I can't be bought, and neither can my organization. We represent the victims.
Ms. Dirks.
Well, I think clearly the indication that was going across the states where they've had to close was because of the loss of demand for the product. We had a number of grocery stores. The lunch program was a possibility. And so when you are producing 850 million pounds a year and that number goes back, you have to stop production based upon what the future demand is going to be.
I think it was really the big supermarket chains, and they, you know, you have this panic situation. We've seen it before. Remember the LR scare with apples, and people quit producing apples, and we had the same thing when the media kept calling H1N1 the swine flu. It's these kind of scares that are not based on fact that we need to correct. We cannot continue to let this happen. We need to give the consumers the facts and the information. I want to say I called the president of Hy-Vee, and a lot of other people contacted Hy-Vee, and that's a supermarket chain based here in Iowa. And they turned around and are going to continue to have this product available. So I think other supermarket, and I intend to contact every supermarket chain I can in the country. This is wrong. We should not make decisions based on hysteria and smear campaigns. It ought to be based on facts and knowledge, and I think this session today has gone a long ways to get the information out.
Terry, if I could, I know that classically the answers come from us and are asked out there, but I'm really intrigued with this. Is that why am I here, and why is the governor of Kansas here with you today? And I don't know if I've gotten that answer yet. I don't know why we're here, other than to try to educate the public. And Jim, I want to ask you some questions here while I've got you in front of us. And if the issue is the media has a responsibility to protect the public, is that correct? I mean, would you say that is one of the roles of the media, to protect the public?
Governor, respectfully, I'll provide to listen to whatever you have to say.
Right, but I do want to do that, and I think it's important for those of you in the media to be able to answer to the public, because it's the consuming public that's being hurt here. I have to go back to Texas and explain to people in Amarillo why they may not have a job. And I'm telling you, I don't know the answer to that. Has there been one individual in this country that has been poisoned or has been sick or has died from a product that came out of this company? You wouldn't let me get away with that, stonewalling you.
Well, but there's none that you know of, correct?
All I would say, Governor, is that we have governors, at ABC News, we have never said this product is unsafe. We've never said that, in fact, that anybody is going to hurt by this product. What we have said is that consumer groups, after realizing that 70% of their ground beef in their supermarket contained this product, wanted to know why it wasn't labeled and which ones it had. That's why you're here.
Here would be some good advice, is those questions get asked before you run your stories.
It isn't responsible to refer to it as you have. I mean, that's really probably why we're here, is how you've referred to the product.
If you called it finely trimmed beef, would we be here? And that would be a responsible topic to call it. And and if this were a safety issue, I'm all with you. But if it's not,
Let me ask the USDA food and safety person there. Who first coined this phrase?
I believe this was from an email from an employee who no longer works for us. It's certainly not. Yes, it's certainly not. It's certainly not any kind of official terminology, and it's certainly not any kind of jargon that is used throughout the meat industry. It's referred to as lean, finely textured beef. And I'll go ahead and.
But and when was that email?
Oh, it was many years ago, Governor.
Many years ago. I wonder who lifted it up and made it really get buoyancy.
I'm not certain about that, sir.
Was it anybody in the media that maybe did that? That's what's troubling to a lot of the American public about this. I mean, and if it was a food safety issue, yes. But we work hard at food safety, and respectfully, and we also work hard on sustainability to be responsible. This is an important animal product, and we treat the animals well. But we also want to harvest everything that you possibly can that's responsible to do. So I just would hope you would look at the factual setting with this, and not the hysteria, and build that up.
Governor Branstad with the final word.
Yeah, well, I had a teacher that taught me that you ought to treat everybody with respect and dignity, and I would just implore the media to stop using inaccurate, inappropriate, charged words and treat everybody with respect and dignity so that we can have an informed citizenry. They can make responsible decisions. Thank you.
Regina Robb.
Well, our heartfelt thanks to the governors for taking time out of their busy schedules. I know they all had to scramble to get here. And on behalf of BPI and our 1,500 employees and the many vendors that we use, just thank you so very much. Thank you, Dr. Acuff, for your insightful commentary. Thank you, Undersecretary Hagan, for presenting it in a consumer-friendly way, and my heartfelt love for Nancy. Thank you, Nancy. And Siouxland, thank you for standing behind us. It's the why we get up every day and make this fight. So thank you. And you know what? We're going to have some burgers with LFTB in them. So come on in and let's go eat.